lived in a peaceful world, but he has no memory of it. The rocket was seen exploding in the middle of the city and destroying all the buildings. The war destroyed everything in an instant. As a result of a prolonged war, that's left of the human civilization are traces. His oldest memory is that of streets covered in ash, pungent smells and blank expression. But there were still smiles to greet him, and his shoulders could lean on. Until they appeared. They emerged through humanity's despair. A large statue with its eyes covered, don't know what the purpose of coming to this place. They called it the gods, with the title Young Lamb worship us. And they say that they are your master and the guide of the new world. They all looked at object like wanting something. Civilization will be rebuilt in the name of the gods. Those who long for salvation, bring the souls of your neighbors to the sanctuary. 15 years later, a man asked the young man to follow him somewhere. The civilization that humanity took thousands of the years to build was restored by the gods in just a few days. Sanctuary of the Golden God, Barik. This man took these young men to a place called Barik Sanctuary, and they were warmly welcomed. Everyone dreams of entering the sanctuary. They had qualified to enter this place. This man seemed to be giving something away. There are only 2 ways to enter the sanctuary: by offering a sacrifice. The agreement was accepted and the young man's hands were tied, then immediately walked following the person's directions. His job's like a ladder, but it doesn't matter. He didn't come here to enter the sanctuary, but to meet the gods, because he remembered it clearly while he stepped the bodies of his mother, father and brother like this. Words came to mind like salvation, blessing, justice and goodness, which he's chanted. This young man must meet every god in this world. After meeting the gods, he promised to bring disaster to all the gods to avenge his family. A city in a busy place. This man stopped to a drink shop, then rest and immediately ordered a drink. This man just new in this place, and they mentioned everyone who wants to go to the sanctuary of the gold. They talk about the Barik having the power to make gold, but that's not the point. But the power of transmutation. Barik can turn something no gold into gold. For example, changing water or stones into gold. This happens if there is a sacrifice that can satisfy Barik. If it is not satisfying, can still receive a certain share. Barik has a strange hobby, namely collecting artwork made of gold. An example is gold number 216. Grandpa dancing in anger. In another place, this person is Barik. He is seen holding a gold statue that he likes and trying to show it off to someone. It turned out that it was the young man who was trying to be seen. But to Barik, this young man seemed disinterested and had no expression. He was bored with his statues now, and what he wanted now was a strong man like this young man. And he showed his collection of all his statues to this young man, and this young man would be there in his collection. He was really impatient waiting for this. But he was a little confused because there were still 2 empty slots there. But at the same time, Barik saw and heard something strange behind the young man's ears, as if the man and the young man were exchanging information. Finally, he took the listening device from the young man and immediately destroyed it. It's turned out that the man and the young man were working together. He don't know what the purpose of their working together, but for Barik, he doesn't care, and in 5 minutes, this young man's body will turn completely gold. Can see from the young man's face that he didn't seem afraid the power of God in front of him and seemed like he could do something about this. The condition for activating Barik power is that people must have a soul, but this young man does not have a soul. When Barik tried to check it, it turned out that this young man did not have a soul, and Barik was a little surprised by this. This young man told him that he didn't have a soul because he sold it. The one capable of defeat God to the being that harbors all demons. After the young man told about selling his soul to a demon, he now calls himself a void. Hearing this, he didn't seem to know what this young man was talking about void. Barik is now confused about what to do with this young man because he doesn't have a soul. Without thinking, he made up his mind and immediately finished off the young man with a hard blow. Barik immediately released a skill, blasphemy, to finish off the young man. He didn't like it if someone stepped on his title as God, and he immediately ordered the high priest to investigate this incident. Suddenly, while the conversation was taking, The young man woke up with his whole body returning to normal, and he immediately patted Barik's shoulder. Suddenly, the young man released his real power called Fabaka to the god. It seemed like this power was a demon that he could release after selling his soul. Seeing this, Barik the god couldn't do much. He immediately attacked Barik with power of the demon Fabaka, so that this god experienced pain. The soldiers did not remain silent and immediately attacked the young man. After releasing the power of the Fabaka demon, he immediately changed his power to the demon Braz and immediately finished off all the soldiers with his claws. Fabaka scorching and Braz flesh tearing pain. Using a demon power always comes at a cost. But the pain he felt could be endured, seeing what he had done to the god. Barik was angry and immediately released his true strength. Then now they will face each other and solve their problems by fighting. This young man will also unleash the true power of a demon. He will show the god that a human can defeat the god and change everything back to normal. Barik the god covered himself in gold. He didn't care what the demon's power was. Compared to God's power, demon's power is simply empty. Finally, the true power of Bariki the god has been released. He can be seen becoming big and his body is covered in gold. In the golden sanctuary, he is omnipotent and absolute. Seeing this young man felt challenged to fight him. Then Barik began to use the skills in his hands and prepared to attack. Barik the god immediately threw his attack at the young man with a crushing force. After attacking him with one strong attack, Barik continued by attacking repeatedly. However, the young man managed to withstand the attack from Barik the god by releasing the power of demon Braz. But his condition reached its limit. It seemed the god's Barik was too strong. When his condition reaches the limit, Barik prepares to launch out the next attack. He strengthened every muscle in preparation to attack, and immediately hit the young man with an absolute attack, accompanied by high power. The attack power was so strong that it destroyed everything around it. As a result, the place shook and seemed to want to collapse, making the soldiers running. The situation outside the place was also the same. The earthquake was caused by a strong attack from Barik the god. This man named is Walter. Seen there, he has defeated several soldiers, and the shock from Barik the god's attack reaches the drinking place. As seen, this person turned into gold due to absorbing the power of Barik the god. Then Walter immediately came out to see the situation around this place. This god plans to absorb the souls of 50,000 believers, and suddenly from a distance someone approaches Walter. Turns out she's a woman named Katie and calls Walter captain. Katie is angry with Walter because she was never contacted again, and now Walter is trying to fight the gods without her. But Walter fight God has prepared a plan. Then Katie guesses about his plan in the form of a weapon to defeat God, and Walter just laughs. Walter's weapon to defeat God is this young man named Dale. He knew that from the look in his eyes full of futility, sadness, hatred, fear and vengeance. Those who seek to use the void relic must embed it into their heart, without a moment hesitation. Because of that incident, he was unconscious, but his body did not decay for 5 years. That Dale's soul has experienced a demon. A few months ago, Dale woke up and returned, because he succeeded to make a contract with a demon and become a void. It wasn't just any ordinary contract where one sells his soul and borrows a demon's powers. Dale gained a very special power on the condition that he hunts down the gods. Dale, who looks in pain, is even more spirit about fighting Barik the god. For him, an authority that has absorbed this many souls, it should be enough. Katie guessed the source of the power from what Walter says. Then Walter estimates that it is time for Dale's true power to appear. As Walter had expected, a power that surpassed the true power of God himself had appeared in front of them all. Then after Dale released the power of the demon, he prepared to hunt the god, and prepared to attack. Dale immediately asked the demon Agni for full power. Then the demon Agni gave him the power, so that his plan to defeat Barik the god can go well. The true power that Dale brought back from the demon, he powered to possess the demon kings of the void with his own flesh, and can see that the appearance of Dale has changed. It looks like a demon. After demon Agni gave the true power to Dale, he unexpectedly turned into the demon king himself. as if demon Agni possessed him and was ready to go on a rampage at any time. His consciousness as a human seemed to disappear, and now the demon Agni has possessed his body and is preparing to attack Barak the god. Demon King Agni's attack was carried out by gathering true demon energy in his left hand, then immediately releasing it powerfully. After gathering his true demon power and preparing to release it, Dale jumped far in front of Barak, the god with his full true demon power. But when the Dale almost reached the god, Barak tried to attack the Dale simultaneously. As a result, attacks from Dale with true demon power and Barak with true god power hit each other. Even more surprising was that Dale's attack was able to destroy Barak the god's attack. After destroying Barak the god's left hand, Dale immediately prepared for a second attack. He moved towards the back of the god's body. After turning his back on Barak the god's body, Dale immediately jumped up and carried out a direct attack. An attack with the power of a hand covered in blazing fire that shocked the god. The attack in the form of a fiery palm directly hit the god with force, making Barak unable to move against Dale. Then Barak the god lost in the battle against Dale by using true Demon King power. Beatty was surprised by Dale's ability to use demon power. But for Walter, this is just a first step against the god. After that, Dale returned to its original state and gave the wooden carving shape to Walter. It was a relic a different kind from the Void relic. It can't be certain yet, but perhaps even the god like Dale borrow power from another realm. Then after release, the true Demon King power Dale fell asleep for the next few days. In a place called the Central Ancestral Temple, they are all elite troops from the Ancestral Temple who are ready to serve the gods. They came on orders from the Triad gods, and they heard the news that the Golden gods had been defeated. But that wasn't a problem for them and just moved as planned. Then the Triad god ordered elite troops to bring the relic of the Void, the one and only god, the final ingredient for the descent. On the other side, a desert, there is a truck running. Then in it Dale, Katie and Walter are planning to go somewhere else. But here Beatty is still confused about the relic object got from defeating Barak, because this object functions to draw power from another realm, like the Void relic. Then Walter confirms this. But Beatty is still confused about how Captain Walter accepted these foreign things so easily. Captain Walter also told why he believed this. In the era before the final war, he was a senior researcher at the Mega Corporation East. There is a strange place here in the research facility where he works, a secret area that was restricted, even though he is a senior. One day, he saw that this door was open and tried to enter. When he entered, it was true that this place was strange, a mysterious room with an unknown purpose. Those mysterious murals on the walls are unknown. A printer stood alone in that room. Documents were strewn, and documents whose contents were like puzzles like fantasy novels was impossible to discern. Walter tried to copy all the documents, but when he tried to leave the place, the documents came out of print again. What came out were mysterious numbers. At that moment he heard a voice from outside, and Walter came out of the place. Captain Walter shows the document to Katie, but when she looks at it, it looks like a trashy novel. But for Walter, it is not fiction, but a prophecy. The final war, the gods, the relic of Void, even the demons. At the time, the contents seemed unbelievable. But the Perpetuae in the document were realized without a single detail being off. Then the mysterious number is the coordinates and time, an indication of the location of the relic of Void. Now the gods are trying to find that prophecy. They always follow the prophecy, because Captain Walter takes documents with numbers, until Captain Walter knows where the relic Void and Dale appear. But for Katie, this prophecy, it cuts off right before Barak is defeated. That was the problem. Right now he had no idea what to do. Suddenly, during their journey, they were stopped by someone, causing the truck to collapse. It turns out that it was the elite troops from the gods who stopped them. Then Captain Walter and Katie were seen injured as a result of this. They were surrounded by troops from the Central Ancestral Temple. Then they captured Dale because he had the relic of the Void. They reported it to Lord Rue for what to do afterwards. While they were in the middle of a conversation, Captain Walter immediately attacked Lord Rue with his fist and told Katie to protect Dale. Katie immediately took out her weapon, and Captain Walter was going to buy time because Dale losing consciousness he still couldn't recover. Suddenly, Captain Walter was attacked by Lord Rue, making him unable to fight back. Katie managed to save Captain Walter by shooting with her rifle at Lord Rue. However, when Katie tried to help Captain Walter, they were captured by other elite troops. They were caught. Captain Walter knew that they were troops from Central Temple. Because of that, Captain Walter and Katie couldn't handle them. They had power equal to minor gods. Their arrival here was to capture Dale and take the Void Relic from his body. Lord Rue immediately took the Void Relic from Dale's body. Then this action shocked Katie and Captain Walter. Lord Rue also managed to take the Void Relic from Dale's body. Then they were ordered to return. The news was immediately received by the Triad gods. But one of the gods still had a strange feeling about this. For them, there was nothing to worry about that, because they were the gods. But still they feel restless. The prophecy ends here. There is no future, and the reasons are unknown. Something is forcing its way out. What the Omniscient warned about, the Master of Void, that being is dangerous. On the other side, Lord Rue experienced something strange. He seemed to be sucked in by an unknown force. Those who saw this were confused. Neither god nor demon, an unfathomable existence. Something terrible was seen approaching them. It was the Void Godata. Godata Void has appeared in front of them, and Captain Walter considers the current situation very dangerous, because Dale once spoke to him about something other than a demon or demon king, which tries to emerge from his body. If that happens, Dale tells Walter to finish him off. That creature must not come into this world. Then now those creatures have appeared. They have met with destruction. Then gods or whatever, this world might face its end. The troops from Central were confused about what was happening now, because Lord Rue had disappeared after dealing with the creature. But they tried to convince themselves that they were strong, but they still felt bad feelings towards the creature. They also planned to attack now. Then they made a 3 Elite Legion Central Temple formation and would attack the creature simultaneously. They directly attacked the creature with the high powerful energy. They attacked at the same time as the soldiers towards the creature, and a powerful explosive effect occurred. But after the terrible explosion, the creature still looks fine. Then now the creature is standing in a strange style. Now it's time for Captain Walter to do something about Dale. Katie was confused about doing something for Dale. Then Captain Walter was told by Dale that this creature was the bringer of disaster. It seemingly appears and devours everything in its path. That place is an endless abyss. Finally, the void took them into the endless abyss, and it turned out that Dale was alive in this place, and they were a little surprised. Currently, they are in a world endless abyss. It's good to conclude that these troops are also here, which means the Master of Void hasn't consumed the entire world yet. They were confused by this strange place. When they saw Dale was still alive, they immediately tried to attack because maybe for them this was a trick. They immediately attacked Dale with their strength, but when the attack they launched was suddenly blocked by a mysterious creature. For Dale, they currently do not know that this is the Void World. The Void World is the graveyard of demons. Can see that the demon spirits are attacking the central troops, so what is certain that they are also in danger. But Dale ensures that they are safe because the demons are under his control. Dale also summons the demons, namely the King of Flame Demon Angi, the Flesh-Old God Moloch, the Ghost Ruler Solin, and Forgotten Knowledge Mang. Though they have been devoured by the Void and are now mere spirits, they are powerful enough to hunt gods and are entities subservient to the powers. The elite servants of the Central Temple are being defeated. They've all been devoured. Now they are having difficulty getting out of this place. Previously, Dale could get out of this place, but that method no longer works. In the past, the reason he was able to get out of here was that he entered into a contract, and he agreed to send the Dale back to the mortal world. However, when he realized, he immediately knew that now he could use demon power, and the Void could use his body to rise up well. His real purpose was to use Dale's body to devour mortal world, and the only way to get out of this place is Void's himself. Then now Void has no reason to that. Dale also gave up about this, but here Captain Walter tries to convince him not to give up. Then Katie thought Dale could get out of here when he entered into a contract, and her plan was to amend the contract, make an offer Void can't refuse. For Dale it is impossible. But this time Katie gives reasons and analysis in the form of, if the power of the void is still not able to destroy the world, because there is still a God who hasn't descended yet, the power of the true one God that hasn't appeared in the world yet.
They were shocked to hear Katie's statement about the one true God. Katie was just trying to buy time. She knew that they had no choice. But the important thing was first, the world could be saved. Hearing this from Katie, Dale immediately did something. He had warned that the success of this method was only 1%. Dale immediately carried out a ritual to summon something by sticking his finger into his chest. Then black liquid came out of Dale's body. Apparently summoned a strange creature. It seemed like he had summoned the void itself, like before he formed a contract with the void, and they would soon meet the void, the ruler of the endless abyss. The creature called the void finally appeared in front of them, and it seemed like Dale was going to try to talk about something to the void. Dale and the void had a strange interaction with each other, but Katie and Captain Walter didn't know what they were talking about. Then Void immediately pointed his finger at Captain Walter and Katie. Captain Walter and Katie were sucked into the dark light that enveloped them, until finally they were both in the desert. It turns out they both managed to get out of the place, and it looks like Dale was also there, but he fainted, so they tried to help him. In a place like a fortress, the two of them were on guard, and they also talked about Captain Walter, who went exploring to look for weapons that destroy God. When they were on guard, he saw Captain Walter coming here with Katie. Then they entered the fort, and it seemed like their arrival was not considered here. Captain Walter also met Simon and tried to greet him, but Captain Walter's attitude was immediately deemed dangerous for them. But for Simon, this was just an ordinary procedure, and he said that there were little changes in this place when Captain Walter left, such as a system to prove that he was a non-believer. If Walter failed to prove it after entering the sanctuary, then he would be executed. For Walter, has this been approved by the elders or the head of the Eastern Division? But Simon refuses to answer this, but it is clear that Walter cannot do that. Then Simon kidnaps the believers who will be executed, but for Walter, it is not the believers who are executed, but the gods who they have to executed without leaving anything left. Simon doesn't believe Walter's words about defeating God, but Katie tries to convince Simon that she saw it herself, and Walter shows Simon that Dale. Seeing Dale, Simon felt strange that this boy was a weapon to defeat God. That's why Walter came here wanting to use the lad to draw the Dale blood. But how can Simon trust Walter when he wants to use the lab? Then Walter shows a serum that can defeat the god. This serum is blood from Dale. If used, this someone will be able to possess the ability to defeat God for 1 hour. Hearing this, they were shocked, and Walter told Simon to report this to the elders and all the division heads. The Divine Slayer unit, all the preparations to create the Divine Slayer unit have been completed. Previously, Dale and Void were involved in a conversation. The conversation was about a true God who would soon come to Earth. Dale planned to hunt him down and offer his power. Then for now, he wanted to prevent destruction, but for Void, Dale had too high expectations, because Dale was just a vessel for Void, and he only borrowed some of the power of the devil and the Devil King. Void also thought that Dale would not be able to capture the true God. It seems that Dale has obstacles in negotiating with him, but for Void, the current world that has not been destroyed, the part of the void that is in Dale's body can only consume 1 or 2 cities. In his mind, he was still confused about Void's goal of devouring the world. Then he confirmed the statement to Void regarding what Void was really planning at this time, and he pointed at Katie and Walter. The reason the Void appointed them at this time have not destroyed the world, that currently humans still have some use left, so that is the reason they were saved from the Void world. Just like when Dale needed him, Void also needed Dale, that he was the part would lead the world of emptiness. Hearing this, Dale was confused about the world of emptiness. Void explains a little about the world of emptiness, the oldest ancient desire and one of the conclusions of this world, which is divided into 2, that currently the world has 3 layers, namely the upper world, the present world, and the underworld. Then now there are 2 powers with 2 their own goals. These 2 powers with different goals include the infinite, which wants the immortality of everything, and the void, which wants the annihilation of everything. Then over the centuries, the souls that appear in the world now have united with these two power and created two creatures in the world, upper and underworld. That's the story of how the voids and true gods were created. They were created from human souls, and also the main goal of humans. Then now the world of nothingness, where all things are destroyed, is the ultimate goal of Dale. In the war that determines the end of the world, the void commands Dale to win, and desire of the void will guide it. So go forth and fight. As the one who initiated his plans, as the one who conveyed his power, as the one who carried out his desire, to fight against the infinite followers. Hearing the jabber from the void, Dale felt annoyed. He immediately spoke loudly about why he had to do the void's desire, and told him to solve their own problems between the void and the god, and also why his family had to accept bad things. Of course, it also involves humans in their problems. Suddenly, he was attacked by Void's subordinates, Ah and Hum, but he was still able to withstand the attack, then reiterated his question to Void regarding involving humans in their fight, and he wanted their fight to be resolved by the two of them, of course not involving humans. Void answers Dale's question that what a dark human soul can do is only walk in the world of nothingness. Then in the end, what Dale is looking for on the path of Void, namely revenge and his family. Dale should also have known about this from before when he saw the golden power. Their souls were only used as material for the power of the gods. That is the immortality a true god desires, the reality of his power, and perhaps the souls of Dale family are part of that power. Then for Dale's contract, he added one more thing. After the hunt for the god was over and his revenge was complete, but suddenly Dale was sucked out of the void world. Until now, the words void are still not understood. Dale suddenly woke up, but there he looked confused because he didn't know where he was at this time. It turned out that Simon was there, and according to him, what Walter was talking about was true, that Dale was a weapon to defeat God. Dale didn't even know who that person was. Simon then tested the Dale by taking out a machine from the remains of the last war. He wanted to confirm the power of the Dale, whether it really was a secret weapon to fight God. Then without further, he immediately released his demonic abilities to destroy the machine. He hit the machine with his bare hand, which made the machine immediately destroyed in one hit. After destroying the machine, he immediately approached Simon and asked him where he was now or whose god's sanctuary he was in. Suddenly, someone came to tell Dale that now he was in the eastern headquarters of the non-believers, the place where those against God gathered. This person waved to him that she had heard Dale from Captain Walter, that he was indeed strong, according to the rumors circulating. It turns out that this woman is the current leader of the eastern headquarters of non-believers. Her name is Hannah. In the past, Hannah and her sister tried to run away from gods, but her sister is no longer moving and told her to save herself. And here she started to think about how a human could fight God. To them, humans were just insects. She hated the gods because fighting them was meaningless. Even when she became the leader of the non-believers, she was still trapped in that thinking. However, when Hannah saw Dale fight, the man was now proving it directly in front of her eyes. The hope that emerged when Hannah saw the battle, that humans were no longer powerless, a future that no one believed in, liberation from the gods, and freedom from humanity. Hannah also introduced herself that she was the leader of the East non-believers headquarters. Then Dale asked where Walter was. Dale still didn't believe that he was at the non-believers headquarters and kept asking where Walter was. Then Hannah answered that Captain Walter was a little busy now and had only entrusted the photo to Dale. Dale's family photo is very precious to him. That should be enough proof for him. And now Hannah tells him that right now, this place is home for him. She gives him a bed to rest, and it looks like Hannah is enthusiastic about Dale's arrival, so she tries to help him. He was also given new soldier clothes, and they looked suitable for him. Dale was immediately invited to go around the headquarters to have a look, but he was confused because people were staring at him, which was normal because currently Dale was being discussed by many people. From waking up to fighting, if there was a weapon to defeat a god, they would definitely show it to the public. Right now, everyone had forgotten for too long what brought them all here together. a vague and inexplicable thing, but a certain feeling like when one has lost someone precious and found hope. But Dale doubted that hope, because within him there was the power of the void, and he saw clearly their destiny, that the one who lent this power to him would one day swallow this world. Dale borrowed power out of necessity. This is definitely not hope. Great power comes with a price. Hannah immediately knew that power was void. She knew a little from Captain Walter. Void would not appear again because they had planted a bomb in Dale. Apart from that, Hannah told Dale something else. In a week, the first official operation of the God Assassination Squad would begin. Dale was confused by this statement, and he immediately met Walter. There he wanted to know the truth about the operation, but there it seemed that another surprising thing was being done by Walter. Walter was currently planning something, and he explained the thing in front of them, that it was a kind of artificial organism made from Dale's blood. By injecting Dale's blood, it could push physical abilities to the extreme, but it was impossible to use the demon's special abilities. To use the power of a demon, first they have to subdue the demon, and Captain Walter tries to separate the organism and the serum from Dale's blood. The result is that when the member who is injected with the serum calls the demon's name, the demon's soul contained in the artificial organism will be summoned. From this, the God Extermination Squad was born, but it was still not perfect and had problems. Then Hannah gave her report to Dale in the form of a selection process for the God Extermination Squad. Selection needed 2, because not everyone could defeat the demon. 140 members registered and 100 members managed to pass. The problem is in the next stage. The next stage is conquering the demon. If people have been injected with the serum and called the demon's name, then the demon's soul will be summoned. If this has been done, then they have to defeat the demon. In the process of defeating the demon, 99 members failed and 60 members were injured. But of the 140 members, only one person succeeded in defeating the demon, namely a number 1 member of the God Extermination Squad, named Katerina, codename Katie. On the other side, they are preparing a training protocol by checking security devices and organism vital signs. This is done for Katie's demon subjugation test. This person is Kaylee. He is the one responsible of this training protocol. He also explained that the demon Katie will face now is different from before, with a medium difficulty level. According to Captain Walter, if a low-level demon has the power of a platoon, then a medium-level demon has the power of a battalion. In the worst case, Katie will be in danger. However, Katie was confident in her power. She immediately injected the serum so that the demon power within her would awaken. The demon power inside Katie finally awakened, but Key explained that her current mission was only to scout opponent, but she didn't seem to listen to him and try to fight the demon. However, this demon looks strange because there is only one soul reaction that appears, which means that the meaning of battalion level is like being on the battlefield. Katie doesn't know what's happening right now, but what is certain is that she has to defeat them all, and she immediately uses the power of the demon Sai. Demon-sized power is the power of the eye, which can see the movements of all enemies clearly. This makes it easier for her to finish off all the demons. For Katie, even though their movements can be read easily, they are not balanced with their numbers, and their power is limited. Even using more than 2 demon powers will be physically taxing. Katie immediately activated her demon anarch powers, an ability that can increase the expansion of her power range, so she can face many enemies. He easily defeated them all with her anarch demon abilities. After facing them, now Katie will face the leader, and the fight will begin immediately. But Kulai told Katie to stop, because her mission to scout had been successful, and the data collected was enough. She didn't listen to Key's words, and still wanted to fight the unknown demon. Then the demon started to approach and attack her. Katie managed to avoid the fast attack from the demon, but she felt that the unknown demon's power was too strong for her, so she couldn't face it. Not long after, the demon successfully to attack Katie. Previously, she was warned by Captain Walter that demons will demand equivalent pain in return for lending their power, but every human has a pain limit, and when Katie exceeds that pain limit, then 2 things will happen: disappear, or the demon will take over consciousness. But for her, this was a gamble, so she immediately summoned the demon Gil, but at the same time there was someone who prevented her from summoning the demon. It turns out that the person who stopped her was Dale. Then he immediately used the power demon Braz to destroy the unknown demon. Dale thought what Katie had done was crazy. According to Dale, Katie lost her judgment due to the pain. Previously, Walter also spoke to him that currently Katie is his fighting partner because she still has no experience in that power, but her fighting instincts are amazing.